Number 4.
Ngati Apa North Island Claim Settlement Bill, second reading.
I call the Honourable Tariana Turia.
On behalf of the Minister for Treaty of Waitangi negotiations, I move that the Ngati Apa North Island Claim Settlement Bill be now read a second time. Last weekend, over 200 descendants of Ngā Wairiki Ngati Apa gathered at Wangaihu Marae to celebrate the special significance of Puanga at the start of the Māori New Year. In our tribal records, Puanga was the time of wānanga, a time to feed the mind and spirit, to learn wakapapa and histories. It was a time to share hospitality, to be entertained and to learn. And it was a time to reflect on our past, acknowledging those who live on in our memories, inspiring the promise of a stronger future. It is therefore an entirely appropriate time to be advancing the bill to settle all the historical claims against the Crown by Ngati Apa. I want to firstly acknowledge the work of the Māori Affairs Select Committee, which considered this bill and reported back to Parliament within 3 months. The chairperson, the Honourable Tau Henare, was to be commended for his leadership in ensuring that progress was both comprehensive and expeditious. The committee considered 34 submissions on the bill. Submissions in support of the bill received on behalf of each of the hapu collectives of Ngati Apa, including Ngā Riki, Ngā Wairiki, Kiuta, Ngāti Tauira and Ngāti Kauai and Ngāti Rangi Wakaturia me ngā uri o Taitapu. The committee has now examined the bill and unanimously supports it. The committee has recommended it be passed with a number of technical amendments. For Ngā Wairiki Ngāti Apa, this settlement is life-changing. It provides a springboard to the future that is forever associated with our foundations back to the whenua. Our research describes Ngāti Apa as an alliance of Ngā Wairiki and Rangitike people which emerged from events in the 1820s, 1830s and 1840s. From that period on, we have been linked together by wakapapa, our connection strengthened by relationships to the 5 rivers of Mangawhero, Wangaihu, Turukana, Rangitike and Oroua. As we move forward, it will be because of the importance we are giving to unity between Ngā Wairiki, Rangitike and Oroua, the rivers along which our ancestors dwelt. In coming together, we are joining together the autonomous hapu collectives that make up Ngā Wairiki Ngāti Apa because we are intrinsically connected. Our wakapapa is indivisible. It has also been important to work collaboratively with overlapping claimants. The need to sit down early on with Ngāti Raukawa, Wanganui Iwi Rangitane or Manawatu, Ngāti Kauhata and Ngāti Hauati and others has required a huge commitment from all parties. It was wonderful to read the submission of Te Runanga o Ngāti Hauati and their reference to the Pourewa Accord. The Accord demonstrates the deep respect between Ngāti Hauati and Ngāti Apa, the mutual acknowledgement of the validity of each other's overlapping interests and the agreement which identifies clear boundaries for future management and development. While there were some submitters who felt that Ngā Wairiki should not be included in this settlement, the committee's view was that the vast majority of Ngā Wairiki gave their mandate to Te Runanga o Ngāti Apa, and they were also satisfied that the mandating and ratification processes were robust. There has never been a separation of Ngā Wairiki Ngāti Apa, certainly in my lifetime. Indeed, it is impossible to remove strands of one's wakapapa when our wakapapa, sites of significance and rivers are intrinsically linked together. The committee was finally assured that the Runanga has left the door open for members who were not supporting the settlement to still participate in the post-settlement affairs of the iwi, including the right to participate in elections with respect to the governance entity. I firmly believe that out of the growth of kotahitanga, Ngā Wairiki Ngāti Apa is now moving to a new phase. A time when Mount Curl will be known as Parai Karetu, when Roundbush Senate Reserve will be called Omaru Pāpako. The settlement includes the gifting of 5 papakainga properties ag research lands, Parewanui School, part of the Sandtoff Forest and the Lismore Sands Forest and the Kawangaroa School. The settlement allows for the implementation of the cultural redevelopment plan, including marae development and investment in current programs or initiatives that focus on areas such as te reo, arts, taonga and mātauranga. This is a unique initiative to revive the life force of the people. The revitalisation focus has been recognised as a first in treaty settlements and is something to be immensely proud of, given that many of the Ngati Apa hapu no longer have, probably are lucky if they have one te reo speaker on each marae. The immediately history to this legislation started on the 16th of November 2004 when the Crown recognised Te Runanga o Ngati Apa's deed of mandate. But of course the enduring story for Ngati Apa tracks back to 1849 when the Crown purchased the 260-acre Rangitike Turikana block. Our circumstances reflect that today Ngati Apa own less than 1% of their traditional rohe, that the lands have been alienated and the people have been disenfranchised. This bill confronts the failure of the Crown to adequately protect 35,000 acres of reserves set aside from the 1849 transaction. It also takes into account the impact of the native land laws which contributed to the erosion of traditional tribal structures and resulted in the alienation of nearly all of Ngati Apa's remaining land. But it also brings to the fore the consistent perseverance of our tūpuna in challenging the injustices meted out by the Crown. It reminds us of the petitioning of the Premier in 1899 seeking the establishment of the Reserves for the Ngati Apa Act, a call on the Crown to pass an Act of Parliament to protect our lands. Through all of the land transactions, Ngati Apa endeavoured to establish a relationship with the Crown. They sought to strengthen this relationship by going so far as to expressing loyalty to the Crown, but it was to no avail. And the Crown failed to ensure the arrangements in 1849 were given effect. The Crown failed to take steps to adequately protect the tribal and hapu custodianship of their lands. The settlement enables us to gain a clear appreciation of the historical relationship between the Crown and Ngā Wairiki Ngati Apa. A history is documented, the disillusionment which rose out of the transactions that resulted not in prosperity but poverty. We know now that the Crown's policy was to acquire land as cheaply as possible on the pretext that the growth of European settlement all around us would have ongoing benefits. Yet the partnerships aspired towards in those times did not eventuate. The wealth of a secure living was rarely experienced except by those who settled the land. But now, with the progress of this settlement, we are poised to build a strong foundation to carry all of our descendants forward of Ngati Apa Ngā Wairiki. The deed of settlement was signed by Kuia and Kaumātua appointed by their respective hapu. All of the hapu provided the rūnanga with information to negotiate the statutory acknowledgements, to write the statements of association and to negotiate the deeds of recognition. We are also indebted to the leadership and vision of a very young negotiating team, Te Rōpū Rangahau, the strength of their whānau in supporting them through such a demanding process. There have been many complex negotiations required and our young people have made us proud through their skills and talents, and most of all the great integrity that they have brought to the task. We mihi today to all of those previous Labour ministers who began the process of negotiation. Kia koe mita, e mihi roa tēnei kia koe. Finally, I want to mihi to the Minister Chris Finlayson, who has brought a fierce intellect and a repressible enthusiasm and a gracious dignity, and a genuine sense of understanding to the settlement of Ngati Apa, as indeed he does in every treaty settlement. It's been a privilege to work alongside of him, and I thank him for the honour of being able to speak first in this debate for my own iwi. Nā reira, tēnā koutou katoa, and I commend this bill to the House.
The question is that the motion be agreed to.